Hey guys, this is Brent with Western Equipment, and I'm standing here next to the John Deere 333G. Now the 333G is a model that has the keyless start feature, meaning it has a switch inside to start the machine, and then to keep people out and from running your machine, we have this lock on the outside. But there is another feature here that you definitely need to know about, so let's get started. So before we get started here, if this video happens to help you out or you like this video, we just ask you to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as that helps me out as well. Now, the feature that we're going to be talking about today is the anti-theft feature on these keyless start machines. Now, like I said before, it seems as if that you may only have the ability to lock the outside of your machine, but I'm going to be showing you the feature that you can be able to lock the inside of your machine, not from keeping people in it, but from being able to keep people to run it and possibly to deter them from stealing this machine. So I'm going to go ahead and start up the machine here, and I already have the anti-theft activated on this machine. So as soon as I hit the start button here one time, we'll notice that up here in our left hand corner, it's going to ask us to enter our current code. So right now I have it on 3-digit codes, which you can change that, and I'll go over more in a minute. But I'm going to put in my code here of 123 and then hit enter. And now it's saying that the anti-theft is unlocked. So now this means that I can turn the machine on. Now, if I go back and I turn the machine off here, and I were to go ahead and lock it, which is asking me now 5-minute auto lock, which we'll go over more in a minute, or I'll lock now. I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so now the machine is locked. So let's say that somebody got into your machine that did not have an operator code, did not have a code to be able to start this machine. If they were to go to start it and they turned this machine on, and they had no idea that you had the anti-theft activated, they would be holding down this button trying to start the machine. And as you see, when I do that, it will not allow me to start the machine without entering the code up there in the left-hand corner. So this is going to be a great feature for you to have on your machine, like I said, to be able to keep people out of it, and also to be able to set this machine up for multiple operators to use this machine. So I'm going to go ahead and start this up. Now, like I said, this machine obviously is already set up here with the anti-theft feature, but if you needed to check to see if your machine had it, where you would go is right up here in your left-hand menu. We would hit that menu button, and then we would start scrolling down here, and we would go down until we saw anti-theft. And of course, like I said, this one, it is activated, so you will see it on there. But on some machines, you may go through this whole menu and not see the anti-theft option. Now, if that's the case, another way that you can check to see if this is a feature that can be activated on your machine is we're going to go up here to the menu button, and we're going to hold this down for 5 to 7 seconds. And then we're going to see service menu come up. Now, this is the menu that technicians would use to be able to go in and be able to check diagnostics and other things like that in your machine. So don't be going into this menu unless you are checking for this feature. That way we don't have any issues there. But once you get into this menu, you can now scroll down and look. And if the anti-theft is an option in this menu, like it is here because this machine is set up for it, then now you would be able to select that. And then you could go in and do your different things, such as change codes, lock mode, number of digits of code, and now the master code. Now, if this feature was not turned on and you clicked into that anti-theft, it's going to prompt you to put in a master code. Now, the master code is a code that will have to be obtained from your local John Deere dealership. You would have to call into the dealership or take the machine in. Normally, you can call these dealerships, give them your serial number to your machine, and then give them the current hours up to the decimal point for them to be able to generate a master code for you. And then you'd be able to put that master code in here, and then that would unlock the anti-theft feature and activate it to where it is active on your machine. Now, let's say your machine does not have the anti-theft feature on the menu screen at all. You can get in touch with the dealership, and they will tell you the proper steps to go about getting that added to your machine. Now, often what this is going to require is that you add the EH joystick performance package to your machine, which is not only going to give you the anti-theft feature, but it's also going to unlock a lot of these features that you'll see here on your keypad. So if you do not have that anti-theft feature, definitely get in touch with your dealership so you can get the proper equipment installed and put on your machine to have that feature. Now, like I said, if you do have that feature, once you call in and you get that master code, you put it in and you activate the anti-theft feature. Now, whenever you're in your regular menu, you should be able to go down here to your anti-theft spot right here. Now, what you would have to do here is you would have to, at the initial activation of your anti-theft, you would have to go in and change codes. So that would be the first thing you would have to put, and then you could change which code you need to change, and the very first one you need to change is your owner code, as this is going to be the code that allows you to change all other functions within the anti-theft. So what we'd want to do is go down here to our owner code, and we would select that. Now, if you're just now activating this feature, you will not have an owner code set, but there are default codes set for these machines to be able to reset and make these codes your own. So if this machine had not already been reset, which I've set mine to 123, but the default to enter this on a 3-digit code would be 111, and if the machine was already set to 5-digit codes, it would be 00111. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that code in now that I've already set into 123, and I'm going to hit enter, and now it is giving me the option to change this to a new code. So like I said, this was a new activation. You would have put in 111, and then you can enter your new code. So I'm going to change mine to 456 and then hit enter, and then now you can see that your owner code is 456. Now, if we want to go in and, like I said, set this up to where we can have multiple different operators, the same is going to be true whenever we're changing our operator codes. So you will have default codes from the factory on these as well. So if we go back into our change codes menu and we went to operator code 1, your default code is going to be 000. If it is a 3-digit, if it is a 5-digit, it's going to be the same codes that I'm about to tell you with 2 zeros in front of it. So if it's a 5-digit, it would be 5 zeros. If we go down to operator 2, this is either going to be 999 or 00999. Operator 3 would be 998, or the 2 zeros in front plus 998. Then you would have 997, or the 2 zeros in front plus 997. And then for operator 5, it would be 996, or the 00 plus the 996. So let's just go in here, give you a brief overview of how to change these operator codes before we move on here. So let's just go ahead and start here with operator 5. So like we see here, we only have the 3 digits enabled, so we're going to type in 996 and then hit enter, and now it gives us the option to enter that new code. So we'll go ahead and make this one 123 and then hit enter. And now we have operator code 5 set up as 123. Now, like I said, as you saw there, you do have up to 5 operators that can now start this machine. So as we have it set up right now, we've got an owner code of 456 and an operator code of operator 5 of 123. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the machine off, and then we'll let that lock. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn the machine back on. And we're going to use that operator 5 code now to turn the machine on. It's going to ask for a current code. So we'll go 123, which should be our operator 5 code. And then we'll hit enter. And then it says unlocking anti-theft. So you know that your operator 5 code is set up correctly. And now once again, we can start the machine. Now, once I've gone in and I've started the machine with an operator code, I can go in here into the menu, and I can still get down into the anti-theft as we see here, and I still have the options to go to these different settings. But let's say I go and I want to try to change the lock mode. I'm going to have the owner code to be able to get into that lock mode change. So therefore, if I was the operator, I would not know that code, so I would not be able to make any of these changes in these settings. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn the machine off one more time, and we're going to get back in with the owner code. That way I can show you guys the other changes of the settings to this anti-theft. So we'll go ahead and lock it. We'll turn the machine back on. I'm going to enter my owner code here, which we changed to 456. Hit enter. and then now we can turn the machine on. All right, so we went through how to change those codes. One last thing that I do want to show you on that is if we go down into the codes menu, go into our anti-theft, and we go into change codes. Now, like I showed before, we do have the operator codes and the owner code. Now, one other thing that you're going to have is the reset all codes. Now, if you do hit this reset all codes, you need to remember that what it's going to do is take all of your codes back to the defaults. So once again, your owner's code would be that 111 or the 2 zeros in front, and your operators would be 000, 999, 998, 997, and 996 if you're in the 3-digit. If you're in the 5 digits, just remember that you will have 2 zeros in front of those 3-digit codes to get into your default codes to change those to whatever you want them to be. So let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to hit select to reset all codes. I'm going to put in my owner code of 456. Go ahead and hit select. Now your owner code is back to 111 operator, and it'll tell you up here in the corner what your default codes are. Just like that. So now let's go back in here one more time. Go ahead and at least set our owner code. So I'm going to go in here and go to change codes. Go down to my operator code. Current code is 111. Hit enter, and then we'll change that back to 123. Hit enter, and now you have your owner code set. So there's a complete rundown of how to change the codes in your machine. So now let's move on and check out the other features here. Next one in the anti-theft menu is going to be the changing of the lock system. So once we get in here, we can go down here to lock mode. We can select that. We're gonna have to put in that owner code that we just set up. So 123 and hit enter. Now we can choose to have this to lock in 5 minutes. So whenever someone were to get in this machine, turn it off, it's going to prompt up here at the top. It's gonna say lock in 5 minutes, or it'll ask you if you want to lock now. And if you do, you can hit select to lock now. Or you can change this to 60 minutes. Same thing, once the machine has been powered off, it'll wait 60 minutes before it completely locks the anti-theft system, or you can choose to lock it now. You also have the option of turning off your anti-theft system, which you can do that, and that's just going to allow your machine to be free and wide open to turn on and off without any codes at all. And you also can choose prompt to lock. So as soon as you power off, it's going to ask you to lock this machine. If you don't do that, then it's not going to lock it, but it will prompt you directly to lock the machine. Now, the other feature in this machine that I've talked about numerous times is that you can change the amount of digits you want in your anti-theft system. So to do that, we're going to go into the anti-theft menu, and then we're going to go down here to number of digits. So we're going to need to put in that owner code 123, hit enter, and now we can choose whether we want 3-digit codes or 5-digit codes. So very easy there, guys. You can change that. If you want your codes to be a little more extensive, a little harder to guess, you can change that to the 5 digits, or you can leave them in the 3-digit, whichever one you prefer there. Now, one last thing on this is, and this is something that I wouldn't generally prompt somebody to do, but you can do it this way, is there are a couple of different ways to enter your security codes. Now, as you've seen me do so far, I've used the number pad here to enter all of those digits, but you can also do that right up here in your EMU, which is your display at the top where you go to your menu button. So I'll go ahead and turn this machine off. We're going to go ahead and hit the lock button. And then we'll go ahead and turn this machine back on. Now, anytime that it prompts you to enter a code, you can also use these buttons here. Now, the next is going to go up in digits. The back is going to go back in digits. So what we would do is we would hit next here, and we would get a 0. There's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3, and we can continue to hit those until we get to the digit we need. Now, our owner code is 123, so we can hit that. Select, we'll move to the next digit. We'll go to 2, We'll hit select, and then we can also, like I said, go in the reverse direction here with the back button, and we'll get to 3. We can hit select, and then we have to hit enter on our keypad here, and it will unlock the anti-theft. So guys, to sum it all up, if the anti-theft is something that you think you definitely need on your machine, make sure to follow those steps that I just showed you of checking to see if your machine has it. If it does not, make sure to get in touch with your dealership so they can get you hooked up with the right equipment so you have that feature. And also guys, if you have that feature already active on your machine, I've given you all the information there on how to set it up. Just make sure to remember those default codes whenever they pop up, write them down so you've got them, and then that way you can get your machine up and going and keep that machine out of the hands of somebody that you do not want it in. But guys, I hope this video was helpful. I hope maybe I showed you something that you didn't know today. And if you liked this video or this video helped you out, we just ask you to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as that helps us out as well. Also guys, if you feel like there's anything that I left out, or you have any other questions or comments, make sure to leave those down in the comment section below so I can be sure to get back with you. And also guys, while you're down there, make sure to scroll up just a little bit into the description tab. Go in there and check out all of our other videos over the John Deere 333G. Make sure to check out that link to 247parts.com, where you can go to get all your parts needs for your 333G, any other compact construction equipment, your lawnmowers, gators, tractors, whatever those things may be. Make sure to check that out. And also go check out our 247 Parts channel to be able to see other how-tos of how to install pieces or parts onto these machines. And as always guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Hey guys, make sure to check out this cool video and this one. Buy your parts right up here and subscribe right here.